Let's talk about the most dangerous love affair in music history. Talking about Vybz Kartel and the Gaza Nation. In the music industry, fans are usually just customers, right? But for World Boss, his fans are an army. And like any army, they are the reason he's still standing. And also the reason the target on his back never goes away. Being a Gaza fan is a blessing, but for Ade's legacy, it's also a curse. First, the blessing. Let's be real. Name another artist who could go to prison for over a decade and still run the street. You can't. That's because the Gaza Nation functioned like a 24/7 marketing agency. They didn't just play his music, they enforced it. They run freedom campaign countlessly. You see Free Gaza on t-shirts, on cars, on hashtags, on the internet, everywhere. It was just everywhere. So it's a good, they kept his name alive. They didn't just play this music, as I said, they enforced it. They turned a prison cell into a throne room for Kartel. And without that fanatical loyalty, the system would have buried Vybz Kartel in 2011. They kept the World Boss brand alive on the Billboard charts when Jamaican authorities wanted to erase him. But here's the curse. The same loyalty, it's toxic. Is basically, this is from they started from the gully Gaza era. Wasn't just a musical rivalry. It was a digital warfare that spilled into the street. When your fans are so radicalized that they could fight anyone who question you, you don't just become an artist, you become a national security threat. And every time Gaza fan moves like a fanatic, it gives the Privy Council or the Jamaican prosecutors another reason to say this man is too powerful to be free. Their aggression didn't just protect him, it boxed him in. And it made the system terrified of his influence, which many believe is the reason why his legal battles lasted that eternity. And let's talk about the music. When you have fans who will call a 2 out of 10 song a masterpiece, so when you have like a mediocre song and they class it as the top of the notch masterpiece just because your name is on it, you lose your edge. The Gaza Nation became a bubble of yes men for Kartel. They have attacked every rising star from Alkaline to every rising star they basically didn't give a listening ears to because they so attached to Kartel, and that didn't brave well for their culture itself. So that means the culture wasn't growing because there's a big, large fan base of the culture that is basically stuck on one man. As I said, a big bubble of yes men. And they treated anyone with a hit like a traitor to the Gaza throne. The fans saved the man, but did they kill the genre? Did they kill dancehall? It's a good question. They made Kartel a god, but gods don't have anyone left to talk to. So what? He basically lacked that creative edge to push him further. If you think he's the one and only at the top, there is no competitive juice for him to do better. So it basically hindered his level of artistry, I think, as well. So I'm asking this question. Is the Gaza nation the reason Adi is free, or the reason he was gone so long? But even when he's out now as well, you see what this caused recently with him, with the clash and everyone trying to pick a side. It's basically Gaza, in my point of view, Gaza fans is a blessing and a curse, not just for Vybz Kartel, but also a blessing and a curse for the dancehall itself. You get what I mean? So the Cartel doesn't have, because he's so loved and revered by his fans, he doesn't have anyone to answer to really. He doesn't he doesn't feel like you have to have accountability. Now when you have that power, it's oh my gosh. You got to be real though. There's no fan base in dancehall history rides harder, pause, like the Gaza fans with Cartel. The Gaza fans that kept Cartel alive musically while he was locked up. They had no shows, no interview, no visuals, and still dominance. They stream everything, they defend everything, quote lyrics like scriptures. They turned Cartel into more than an artist, a movement, more like an identity, and a flag they carry with them always, a big badge on the chest. Even when radio industry figures or moral gatekeepers try to sideline him, Gaza fans said, "We don't care, play the tune." And that level of loyalty is rare. So without Gaza, Cartel doesn't become this mythical person he is. He becomes just another great artist with a tragic story. Gaza fan helped freeze him in time as the untouchable genius. But like as I said before, the Gaza fans, they're also a curse to the man. Now, the same loyalty often turns into blind loyalty. Some Gaza fans don't want growth. They want the same Cartel forever. And any evolution get questioned. Any change is seen as a sellout or soft. You get what I mean? They give them constructive criticism. They cannot do that with Cartel. That's not allowed. You're either Gaza or you're an enemy. And this creates an echo chamber where Cartel is always right, always flawless, always above accountability. And that is dangerous for any human being. Because here's the truth, people. Cartel the man is not Cartel the myth. And some fans would rather protect the myth than allow the man to mature, heal, or shift direction. But here's the post-prison problem. Cartel coming home should be about legacy management. You get what I mean? The bigger vision, smarter messaging, cleaner brand control, long-term cultural impact. And he has been doing some of those, I feel, since he comes out. But the extreme fans can pressure him backwards, back into beef, controversy, and shock value, because that's the version they fell in love with. They don't always ask, what does Cartel need? They ask, what do we want? And that's where blessings turns curse. But get into the deeper psychology of these Gaza Nation people. As I said, I'm a big Gaza fan from early. I'm talking about like 2001, 2002, early. but I'm not a stan like some of these people on the internet. But Gaza fan didn't just support Kartel. They survived with him, to be honest. For some of them are emotionally invested in the struggle era. So your peace, reflection, balance, that doesn't hit the same. So chaos, the crave for chaos, the chaos feels familiar. Conflicts feel authentic to them. But legend don't stay legend by repeating old wars. So the bottom line, Gaza fan made Kartel immortal, but if unchecked, they can also limit his evolution. The next chapter of Kartel life requires loyal fans who allow him to grow, not worshippers who freeze him in time. And real support isn't screaming Gaza at everything. Real support is letting the general outgrow the battlefield. And if you get what I mean? Let me say this carefully, because recently this narrative that they say that Gaza Nation loyalty is look like it's just a big ball of delusion. And when people say Vybz Kartel fans are delusional, what they're really reacting to is not stupidity. It's something far more powerful and far more dangerous, because this isn't just fandom, this is identity. And once identity enters the room, logic usually leaves. Vybz Kartel crossed a line most artists never reach. He stopped being judged like a man and started being defended like a symbol. And at that point, jail doesn't reduce him, it elevates him. Criticism becomes Babylon talk. Evidence becomes agenda. And when someone is no longer evaluated by actions, but what they represent, truth becomes optional. And that's the first crack where people start using the word delusional. You see, Gaza isn't just a name. It's not just not just a place in Portmore, in Waterford. It's not just music. It's belonging. And once someone says, "Me a Gaza," they are not just saying, "I like Kartel's music." What they're saying is, this is my side, this is my people, and this is my resistance. And tribal psychology works the same everywhere, from politics to religion to sports and in music. So once you pick a side, your side is right and the other side is wrong. And neutrality becomes betrayal. And at that point, objectivity is gone. So Vybz Kartel didn't just entertain people, you see. He articulated frustration. He gave voice to ghetto intelligence, to masculine power, to anti-authority energy, and outsmarting the system instead of submitting to it. And for many fans, that's what Kartel represents, and that's the attraction. And Kartel represents someone who understands people when society doesn't. Now, here's where it gets a little bit tricky. You see, when people validate your pain, you will defend them when they are even when they're wrong. Because attacking them feels like you're attacking yourself. And that emotional bond is stronger than facts. And it works for Cartel and the Gaza nation perfectly. Vybz Kartel is undeniable intelligent. He's prolific, he's strategic, and he's culturally sharp. But genius worship creates a dangerous loop. Everything he does has meaning. Every silence is strategy. And every setback is chess, not checkers. And once you believe someone is always 10 steps ahead, nothing can disprove the belief. And that's when outsiders stop calling it loyalty and start calling it delusional. And sometimes these fans are real delusional when it comes to Vybz Kartel. But let's be clear though, this is not all Gaza fans, as I said. Plenty of people love the music, acknowledge Kartel's flaws, separate art from artists. But the loudest fraction defines the reputation. And that fraction behaves less like fans and more like a movement. So when people say Gaza fans are delusional, what they're really saying is this: you're no longer evaluating a man, you are defending a flag. And once music turns into identity, truth becomes negotiable. And that is not a cartel problem alone. That is a human being problem. Well,